Hey everyone, Hexalex here, and it's just a few hours after I created and posted my last Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel gameplay video. I definitely did not anticipate posting another one so soon, but the more observant among you might have already noticed something a little bit different. That's right, I have reached Platinum Rank 1. Yes, and I was actually able to do it much quicker than I thought. You know, since I took the time to make the video tonight, I kind of thought, well, I probably won't hit rank 1, but I'll go ahead and try to bang out some games. Maybe I can get close, if not there. And, you know, I had a few more back and forth games around Platinum 3, and then I hit a win streak that I can go ahead and actually show you right now. I'm fresh off of it as of like maybe 15 minutes ago, so I'm still feeling like the adrenaline rush from it. But check it out. I had an 8-win streak that carried me from Platinum 3 all the way up through 2 and into 1. It was very, very cool, and I saved most of the replays. I counted 7 when I looked. I thought I had saved all of them, but maybe I hadn't. Honestly, some of these duels are not going to be super great, but I'm going to go through all of the ones that I have saved anyway, just so you can kind of see this win streak. Okay, maybe I'm just a little bit proud and showing off a bit, but, you know, I figure this is also a good showcase for the deck profile that I put out, and for anyone who is looking for just a really solid deck to ladder with that's good going first or second, that can play through hand traps, and that isn't while it can be a bit combo intensive sometimes, it's not too hard. I know I keep alluding to this combo video, I've still not made it yet, but it is still something I plan on doing in the very near future. So without further ado, let's go ahead and look at our replays here. And well, I guess we'll just start from the bottom and work our way up to the more recent one. I gotta admit, I don't even remember half of these games. So I alluded in the last video that I kind of wanted to not save games where I just combo out and the opponent concedes. That happens, I think, 2 or 3 times here. Okay, so, oh, I remember this game. Yeah, this game's gonna be pretty boring, to be quite frank, but yeah, I went second, and despite that, my opponent just set a card and passed, so I'm kind of just gonna be able to full combo and not really have to worry about getting responded to, though I might not be playing in a way that, you know, seems like I'm not worried. The reason is that I am still sort of playing around this back row, in some ways trying to bait it out, in some ways being a little bit cautious about what I play. Although, one thing I do notice, and I remember about this game in particular, was that I noticed that between my plays, I wasn't getting, or rather my opponent wasn't getting prompts to respond to something, and that is something you can definitely watch for in this game. If you're playing your cards out, like let's say you discard Fractal, and then it immediately, like without any pause, gives you the option of the monster to send from the deck to the graveyard, we can assume based on that our opponent does not have Ash Blossom, because if they had something they could have responded with, you know, the game would have paused for a moment, it would have gone back to their screen, and they would have been given the option to do that. I guess this duel is also good to show that it is possible to OTK with this deck in the right circumstances. You see I was able to get out 2 Omen in this turn and win the game. Yeah, that one was a little bit less involved. Let's go ahead and take a look at this next one here. I forgot to even look at what the face down card I banished was. I don't remember. I don't remember if I looked at when I actually played the game as well. Or either, I guess, so to speak. Oh, I believe this is the... No, this isn't the Buster Blader deck. I think that comes later. Okay, so we're going first. We Fractal, but they have the Ash, which is definitely unfortunate with this hand, because we don't immediately have a follow-up play. We're going to Pot of Desires to try to find one. And we do find the kit, and if we look at our banish here, yeah, this was a little bit scary because I see 2 Revolt here, but fortunately we do still have 1 in our deck. As long as we have 1 Revolt, that's really all you need, to be honest, but if you're going to be playing Pot of Desires, I really think you should be playing 3 Revolt. Also, since I'm only playing 1 of Bear Brum in the extra deck, I'm playing 3 Revolt. Although that's really not, you know, it's kind of the other way around. It's not that I'm playing 3 Revolt because I only want to play 1 Bear Brum. It's I'm only playing 1 Bear Brum because I end up playing 3 Revolt. I think 3 Revolt is excellent. I see some people running 2 revolt, and then they run 2 bare room in the extra, which is definitely something you could do, but I think that extra deck space is a lot more valuable than the main deck space. Plus, having 3 revolt also just enables you to, geez, I totally lost track of my thought there for a second. Having 3 revolt just lets you open with it more frequently, so then you have more options with your plays. Like, you don't have to go out of your way always to get bare brum to get revolt. Sometimes you can, like, get Farajit and then go into some play you wouldn't normally be able to because you would normally have to go out of your way for revolt. So we did get Nibiru here, but fortunately it was only for our Courage, I think is the Link 3's name. Rugal. Jeez, Courage. I don't even know where that came from. But we are going to have the revolt during the end phase. I'm going to use it not on the Nibiru, but rather on the face down card, because I'm definitely more scared of a back row than just a monster with 3000 attack. Yeah, since we're getting to add something with Nerval, we're going to immediately have a follow-up play, which is the reason I don't feel the need to banish Nibiru, which is, as we all know, a very big strength of the deck in general is just the ability to, like, continually have plays to be going into. You know, our first turn we're setting up our Revolt, which sets up our Omen. Using Revolt to get Omen sets up our Kit and our Nerval's effects to activate again. Nerval sets up the play for the next turn. And really you just need the one, like, Fractal or, by that point in the game, just one Tri-Brigade monster in general. And you can see I kind of just, once I had 8,000 damage on the board, I kind of just went for game because there was a pretty strong chance my opponent had another Nibiru. I don't think we saw anything from our opponent that game other than, like, hand traps, so it's kind of interesting. Okay, we have the next one here. Let's go straight into it. Yeah, some interesting decks. It's funny, this win streak, I came across a lot of, like, decks I hadn't really played against yet, which was kind of a refreshing break from all the Eldelich and Drytron I played against. I think there's actually one Eldelich and one Drytron somewhere in these replays. Or no, you know what? I remember now. The Eldelich was actually the one replay I didn't save because honestly it wasn't a very good game. My opponent just didn't open very good. Oh, here we're playing against the Witchcrafters, which this is the first time I've actually ever played against Witchcrafters. It's funny, right, because I see these decks I've never played against, and I have this kind of mixed reaction when I come up against them, because I know, like, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I know Witchcrafter isn't, like, really tier 1 or 2, so in that regard, I guess I'm not too afraid, since I am playing a tier 1 deck, but, again, at the same time, it's been so long since I've played Yu-Gi-Oh!, and I'm having to read all these cards as my opponent is playing them. And I'm just trying to make sure, like, okay, like, I can omen this 2400 attack monster, right? I actually ended up missing that this is a quick effect. When I was reading this as my opponent was playing their turn, I just read the effect, kind of glossed over, and I was like, okay, this thing won't be an issue. So I do misplay a little bit. I'm missing that this is a quick effect, but I don't think it's ultimately going to end up mattering all that much. Yeah, our opponent is going to get to destroy our omen, but we still get to banish their witchcraft. Hein, I guess is her name. Well, we at least were able to get rid of that, so our next target rather is going to be the Magician's right hand. This is the next thing we're going to want to get rid of. And I'm going to do that here with Trident, and after getting rid of that with Trident, I'm just going to set up a huge Zeus with a bunch of materials. I'm going to be able to set up that as well as a Revolt, and I'll still have an Ash Blossom in my hand, and then I even still have, like, I don't think I've even, wait, have I normal summoned? I actually don't remember. I wasn't really paying as much attention as I should have. Okay, yeah, I haven't used Tenki yet. So there's the Whiptail. No, okay, so they concede here. I think I had normal summoned. I was just getting the Whiptail to set up for the next turn. Or no, I was getting the Whiptail to add it to set up a 6 material Zeus. That's what it was. I think we are going to see a couple, at least one 6 material Zeuses in these games, but I think I did it a couple of times, actually. Which, again, is another reason why, or rather, not another reason, but as I alluded in the last gameplay video, that is the reason why in my extra deck flex spot I use Hammer Kong. I actually am thinking of just switching it over to a second Tiger Mortar, because Tiger Mortar at least has some use, but Hammer Kong just really doesn't do anything. It's literally just there to be another material. But I am glad I have that extra Zoodiac Xyz monster. I guess if I play 2 Tiger Mortar, you can't use 2 of them on the same chain, though, right? Isn't that why Hammer Kong, like, why you would use Hammer Kong, even though it's not a great Xyz monster? I mean, obviously none of the Zoodiacs are really meant to be used on their own, except for Trident and Borbo, and sometimes Chakanane, if you can... Like, there's some hedge cases where Chakanane is good. There's some hedge cases where you need to use Tiger Mortar's effect. If you, like, have to... I remember there was one game, I don't remember what I was playing against, but I had summoned Ram, immediately gone into some Xyz monster, my opponent played a trap, so I had to detach the Ram. So then you would want to go into Tiger Mortar so you can detach the Hammer Kong to get the Ram back, to give your Borbo attack points so that it can, you know, attack directly, and then you go into Zeus. This is a Drytron. Okay, this is... I guess we had 2 Drytron matches. I thought there was... Oh, I remember this one. Yeah, so our opponent's going to summon this Drytron Exceed. I'm going to flip in Perm, and then I'm pretty sure they just concede from here. Because with this card negated, I can't really imagine they can do much with 3 cards in their hand. Yep, pretty easy win there. Okay, so that was the last one we watched, right? So let's go on to this one here. Yeah, this deck is so consistent. I know I've said it so many times by now, but that is the main thing I just love so much about this deck is that you just always have plays and then backup plays, and then you often also have, like, hand traps as well. And those hand traps, plus, I can't stress enough how important the hand traps and then Harpy's Feather Duster and the Lightning Storms are, particularly in this Master Duel format. It just gives you the ability to go second without, like, being hurt by really any deck as a result. So our opponent's playing Metaphys. This is exactly like Witchcrafters, right? Where I'm like, okay, I know Metaphys is kind of off meta. It's a rogue deck, so I'm not terribly scared, but I am, like, having to read all these cards. I'm like, I know they banish, that's their thing. Our opponent did play Dimensional Fissure, so we actually just can't go straight into our Fractal play. We're going to have to actually go into a Zoodiac play first in order to get Trident, so that Trident can pop Dimensional Fissure, then we can go into our Fractal play. But it's just a small detour, it's really not that big of a deal. Because as we know by now, or I guess we would all know by now if I'd made that combo video I keep talking about, but as people who are well versed with Tri-Brigade know, you don't need a normal summon in order to get the Link 3 and a Revolt set. All you need to do is have a Fractal to discard. That's really the core of any Tri-Brigade combo. Is ideally you start with Fractal, and then you discard Fractal, send a Kit. Yeah, it's funny, I'm doing it right now. So you have send a Kit, send Nerval, and then Nerval will either add a Fractal if you want to use your normal summon, or if you don't want to use your normal summon, you can add a Karos to special summon. Just keep in mind, you do have to have a Tri-type being a Beast, Wing Beast, or Beast Warrior. You do have to have a Tri-type in order to use Karos there, but in that way you're able to actually just go off, and again, not even have to use your normal summon. We're going to go for Access Code Talker. I remember stopping to think around this point, trying to figure out if there's any way I could do 8,000. I think the most I could stretch it to was like 7,700, if I remember the math I was doing right, but I decided to just do it this way, to just do 7,000, and then just go into a 4 material Zeus, in addition to my 5,300 attack Access Code Talker. So at this point I have the 4 material Zeus, and again, it's funny, so because I have this big Zeus, I'm not terribly afraid of anything my opponent could do, but again, I'm still not familiar with Metaphys at all. I've never played against them, so I'm still like wearily kind of watching, like, okay, what's going on here? But yeah, they summoned this thing in Pat. Oh, that's right, and then they summoned the Metaphys Dadlius. I don't know, why did I not respond with Zeus there? I should have. Oh no, I didn't respond with Zeus because I didn't want to blow out my Revolt. That's right. I remember this play now. And it turns out, yeah, we don't even end up needing to use the Revolt. We just go into that for game. But I wanted to keep the Revolt around because I knew I had that play with the Fractal, and I just wanted that extra backup just in case my opponent had something like in hand that would have messed me up. Okay, yeah, I guess we're up to this duel already. These are actually going by more quickly than I thought they would. I suppose the last video we did have that 13-turn game against Eldritch Sun that took up a fair bit of time. Okay, I think I remember this game. I remember this being noteworthy because I think this is actually the first time I've matched against an opponent with the same board as me, which is just kind of aesthetically pleasing. They've got the Boral Load or Sword. I've got the Ash though. I have no idea if that's Load or Sword. They look exactly the same to me. That's like one thing I kind of don't like about Yu-Gi-Oh, and this has been a thing ever since like Synchro or Xyz era, I would say, is that like modern monsters just kind of look like they just have all these like they're kind of over designed in my opinion. I remember Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon. It somehow looks cool and really stupid at the same time. I remember that being so distinct to me. Just that one card. And also something about the art. I hate its wings. I think the design is overall not bad, but I hate its wings. It's so weirdly specific, I know, but it's Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon's wings are like the epitome of what I don't like about modern like Yu-Gi-Oh art design. I guess in terms of because Boral Sword kind of has it too a little bit. I don't know. It's hard. I'm just being it's hard to explain rather. I'm just being nitpicky. We're playing against Buster Blader here, which is once again a rogue deck that I've never played against. They have the Raigeki, but this is another case where Almirage, I can speak some praise to it because we're able to use Almirage to save our Eagle here. And Eagle's actually going to end up being really important in this matchup because I notice a lot of their effects have, or a lot of their cards have effects that can bring Buster Blader back from the graveyard, or like equip a Buster Blader from the graveyard or something like that. So being able to use Eagle to shuffle the Buster Blader back into the deck is going to end up being pretty big. Like you would expect here, we're going to use the Omen on one of the back row. We obviously don't need to use it on the 100 attack monster. And I actually don't even know what that trap we sent is. Oh, it's Quaking Mirror Force, that's right. Well, I mean, it's a good thing that we sent it. We obviously don't want to be attacking into that. Although, now that I think about it, it says it flips them into face down, but, I mean, that doesn't work on lake monsters anyway. So I guess it probably would have been better to hit the, this thing, Prologue of Destruction. Our opponent's also going to flip DNA Surgery here, which actually does kind of mess with us a little bit because it's going to make everything we summon a dragon, so Omen isn't going to get to trigger its ability until we get rid of that DNA Surgery. Our opponent also summoned Buster Dragon, which by itself doesn't really do a whole lot to us. But again, it's funny, when I was actually playing the game, of course, I'm being all like cautious, and I must have read Buster Dragon like 4 different times as I'm making these plays. I'm just like, okay, I just want to make sure this thing's not going to like randomly negate one of my monster's effects, or like not be able to be destroyed by a card effect or something, or not be targeted. That's like, whenever I see a boss monster I don't recognize, that's pretty much like what I look for as I read it. I'm like, okay, can I target it? Can I destroy it? Is it going to negate my stuff? And if the answer is no to all 3 of those things, then honestly, you're usually just good. But I mean, that's duh, right? Like, that's true of pretty much any Yu-Gi-Oh deck. But yep, as I explained earlier, we're going to be going into Trident, and then use Trident to pop the DNA Surgery post-combat. Or post-battle phase, I suppose. Combat would be more Magic the Gathering. You can tell it's been a while since I've played Yu-Gi-Oh! And we also get a awkwardly 5 Material Zeus. But, I mean, hey, it's better than, 3 Material Zeus. It would have, I mean, I thought about doing 6 Material Zeus, but I think popping the DNA Surgery with the Trident is better in this situation because I already have a board. Although I actually am going to end up giving up my board to get rid of this Vert Anaconda here. And I can't lie to you, this might not have been the right play, but the reason I did this is because I didn't know what the Buster Blader fusion did. I knew there was one, I just seriously couldn't remember what it did. But I mean, our opponent conceded in response, so I guess it did end up being the right play there. And then yeah, like I said, somewhere in here for because this is 7 games. Somewhere in here there was an Eldritch game I didn't keep because my opponent just didn't open well and it just wasn't an interesting game. But we have here, I believe this game is against Drytron, and this was the last game before I made it to Platinum 1, which was very exciting. I know I don't sound particularly enthused, but you know, I'm also trying to keep my voice at a fairly neutral level because it is very early in the morning right now. And yeah, I mean, this is a hand we love to open with, you know, especially in a game where we're about to hit Platinum 1. It's always, you know, the last game, I think in Hearthstone, what do people call it? The final boss, which is your last opponent. Oh yeah, we got Herald of Orange Lighted here. I was so stressed out. I was like, no! No! So yeah, we are playing against Drytron, but yeah, in Hearthstone, I think people called it the final boss. The last opponent you face on ladder before you get to, in Hearthstone it was Legend, but here in Platinum 1. So yeah, this Drytron deck was my final boss, and you know, in any game I've played, Hearthstone, Runeterra, or Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel here, it's like, ooh, you can always feel the adrenaline rushing. Like, I'm shaking my head as if you could see it, you know, as if I have a face cam, but you always get that, like, little adrenaline rush when you're facing your final boss, and I got it here again when they called my Ash here. I'm like, oh man. So they added another Orange Herald, so I'm going to be playing around this Orange Herald a lot, and I actually misplayed here, which also kind of bummed me out a bit. I thought Impertinence, for some reason, I thought you could use Impertinence if you didn't have any monsters, but you have to have no cards at all, so I should have set Impertinence. I could have flipped it on the Diviner, and my opponent would have had to stop their turn right there. So that was a pretty major misplay on my part. Opponent goes for Beatrice here, and as soon as they activate this Drytron effect, right, as soon as I see that, because I know that last card in their hand is Herald of Orange Light. I knew they had Orange Herald and a Fairy this whole time. So as soon as I see their hand go down to 1 card, I'm immediately flipping Revolt, because, like, I need to get this Omen out, and I need to use its effect while I can. My original plan, because I thought they were just going to keep the Herald live the whole time, my original plan was to save the Revolt actually for next turn, summon Nerval, use Nerval's effects to bait out the Orange Herald, and then flip Revolt. But our opponent's going to concede here before we get a chance to even banish anything with Omen. Or no, their connection failed, that's right. Although, I think I was pretty confident in my victory anyway, because we were going to banish one of their Drytron monsters, which would have made them unable to ritual summon, I believe, because, I mean, Beatrice is rank 6, right? She doesn't have a level, so they wouldn't have been able to advance their turn any further, and we would have been able to continue our combos the next game. So it is a bit funny that my final boss I won due to a connection fail, but in my defense, I was about to win anyway, although it was maybe a bit of a gimme since, again, I did misplay pretty hard earlier. But in any case, we did manage to do it. We made our way up to Platinum 1 with Tri-Brigade Zoodiac, which is very exciting. Again, I'm very pleased that I was able to do this in the time frame that I thought I was. And now that we're at Platinum 1, we have until the 31st to pretty much just, you know, play around with whatever deck we want. I think I am going to use my Ultra Craft points to make my second recital, the Lyric rank 1 that searches by detaching. The one you get 2 of, so you can go into the F0. That is going to be, I think, the next deck I try out. Once I do my research on it to learn the combos and I get a little bit more familiar with it, I'd be happy to show some replays of it, as well as the combo video for Tri-Brigade Zoodiac, which I keep talking about. I think right after I get this out, I'm going to start recording all the pieces I need in order to get that put together. So look forward to that as well. I'll go ahead and show you the deck one last time, although I don't believe I've changed it at all since the deck profile video. Just as a refresher, this is the build that I did that win streak with, that I got to Platinum 1 with. I think I actually have been using this exact build since I got to Platinum, period. So if you're looking for a powerful Tier 1 deck to get you through Platinum easily, then this is definitely one of the builds to look for. And if enough people, want to see it, I could actually even go through and show you a budget version, like a budget deck profile of this deck, right? Where we take this current build and strip away some of the ultra rares and see what we can replace them with to make this deck still competitively viable, but a little bit easier on your craft points. In any case, thank you guys so much for watching. I very much appreciate the viewership as always, and I will see you in the next one. This is HexLex, signing out. Have a good one.